WWE fans are having sphere-shaped dreams. Smackdown's new intro looks great and teaches us how to count to 8. And The Undertaker contemplates one last ride to bury the memory of his match in Saudi Arabia. Wait, no, not that one. There we go. Dave and I are going to Grand Slam. I, for one, personally looking forward to a nice, quiet evening of just the two of us.
The Wrestling Hour starts now. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of The Wrestling Hour right here on the My Fandom YouTube channel and, of course, the My Fandom Podcast Network, wherever you get your podcasts, whether that be Apple, Spotify, Google. I don't know. There's a million ways to download a podcast nowadays. But Dave Sturchio, Josh Shernoff here for another loaded episode. Getting a lot of cool, positive feedback there, Josh. How are we feeling today on a Wednesday, 1 week away from the old Arthur Ashe visit we were at to go to?
Arthur Ashe Stadium, Grand Slam. That's where we're going to be. Dude, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling energized. I listened back to a little bit of last week's podcast, and I'm going to, full disclosure, everyone, I was sick as hell, and I think I sounded it in the show. I listened back to myself.
I didn't notice it.
Everything just seemed so... everything was so slow and plodding, and like when I was talking, it sounded like Bully Ray on Busted Open. So what was that? I couldn't hear you. What did I say? What did I say?
Stop that. He'll get the tables.
Well, that's fine. No, he's a good friend of someone's. So Arthur Ashe Stadium, we're excited. We are going to be there on behalf of my fandom. And I guess, hey, wherever we go, man, we're on behalf of the Wrestling Hour, right? Like that's,
sure.
Where are we right now? We're only 3 minutes into the show. I've already insulted Hall of Famers and legends. We're rocking and rolling, right? So this will probably be the last time we're welcome anywhere, but I'm excited for us to be there at Arthur Ashe Stadium. You've never been, right?
I have not been to this venue. No.
So I've been there. Look, I've been down since day one-ish. Actually, no, I take that back. I've been down since literally day one with AEW. I was there backstage for their first pay-per-view. I hosted their 2-hour live international pre-show before the first Dynamite in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, but
that's right.
I raised you that where you can cover it and you can be there on behalf of Fight. I raised you that, but I raised you being in a text thread with Cody Rhodes about how we're going to get MJF to get into that casino, whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah.
The original, like he was booked on Wrestle Pro, and apparently there was a match that if he won it, he would get into the whatever. Like this is really good journalism, by the way.
Yeah.
He had a match, and if he won, he got into
it.
Like
the thing, and then there was that thing.
Yeah, I don't remember the specifics, but I do remember Cody Rhodes texting me at all hours of the night because the man doesn't sleep. So,
I take that and I raise you that I have actually interviewed Pharaoh.
The dog?
The dog. And he was a better interview than some other ones that I've had before. So Arthur Ashe Stadium, I was there, the very first one. And it was, oh my God, like 20,000 strong, screaming, people losing their minds. It was an amazing event. I actually got recognized outside by these international fans that had come over, answering the question of who watched So Says Shernoff. It was them. And I honestly, the best part was too, cause I was in my suit and everything. So I just assumed when they came over to me that they were going to ask me. Cause a lot of times people like in arenas be like, excuse me, do you know where they'll ask me something cause they see me wearing a suit. So that's what I assumed It was. They were going to be like, where's the will call window? But no, apparently they knew who I was, back in the day. Now nobody knows who I am. I'm going to sip my coffee in a minute, but,
I feel you. Yeah, no.
It's one of those days. No. So, what were we talking about? Arthur Ashe Stadium?
Grand Slam, going there.
Grand Slam. So 20,000 strong, man. Awesome. really cool. Went back the next year for the second one, and uh, I remember noticing that the top was just a uh, little lighter than it had been the previous year. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they sold somewhere in the vicinity of like a 10,000, 11,000, something like that. And
Okay.
last I heard, as of yesterday, was 4,400. So, thus the joke in the beginning of the show. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be a really good show. I don't think we're gonna have any
They're gonna make us
needles
be
in the
like
mouth.
crowd fillers and shit.
Yeah, that's seriously. It's just when you're watching it, look for us. We'll be the ones in the audience.
Front row, a matter of fact.
Yeah,
It's so
yeah.
weird how they gave us that.
Yeah, they're just gonna be like, "Hey, so where do we go? Where's I have my pass here, right there, front row, hard cam. We need you there."
Right
Uh,
next to the sign guy and the green
yeah,
guy and whoever else shows up for
yes.
these
Oh, I
events.
just got an email. We've added a plus 1,000 to your. Please come on, bring as many people as you can. No, and listen. Here's the thing, though. The show's gonna be great. It sucks that AEW's audience has been dwindling. And it's not for a lack of trying from the talent at all.
So what do you think it is? What do you actually think the issue is when it comes to specifically AEW and their lack of enthusiasm when it comes to ticket sales? Like and television ratings for that matter. I mean,
Sure.
like they're talented, the roster, it's all incredible. So like what is the actual problem, Josh?
If I had to guess, I would say it's kind of like a multi-faceted problem. Number one, I think they have lost all of their goodwill that they had with fans. And I think that even the losing the goodwill, I think came from a couple of different things. Number one, I think it came from uh, Tony Khan making himself an on-air personality. And I know he's not an on-air character, but making himself like on air, like where people are seeing where he's coming out there and he's hyping everything up and he's doing the press conferences and stuff like that. And I think it made some people kind of just be like, I don't know, maybe he's a little like, kind of out of touch with things. Um, a lot of it was the competitive nature towards the WWE is what I mean with Tony Khan. Like I think it was a lot of the comments, right, that he was continuously making. The we're gonna, we're the best this, we're the best that, and be like, oh well, according to these metrics, and it's like, dude, like nobody, like, you know what I mean? It kind of was like, instead of like, hey, we're doing the best that we can, we believe in our product, we're really excited about it, we're not really focused on anybody else, we want you guys to come and enjoy what it is we're doing. I think and that's how it was in the beginning. And I think very quickly it shifted into, we're better than them. Oh, they think they're great, but we're great. I think the other side of it was, we talked about this, I think last week, 2019, WWE was maybe the worst creatively it's ever been. And I'm counting the Duke the Dumpster days. I'm counting, like, it was brutal. Like, it was awful to watch. And I think that WWE, it went from Vince McMahon, the evil empire of WWE, and then you got, oh, thank God Tony Khan's here, who's gonna, he's really here for the wrestling fans. Vince tells you what he wants. Tony Khan listens to what we want, right? And then Vince is out, and here comes Triple H. And now Triple H is doing everything that we want, and then the stuff that Triple H wants is really good, and people are really enjoying it. So I think there's that, and I think there's more. I think there's more levels of it. I think the CM Punk thing, I think, affected them far greater than they will ever admit. And I don't think it was losing CM Punk from their television that did it. I think, again, it goes back to the goodwill. I think the Young Bucks doing their little victory lap thing, and you can always fall back. Like, I enjoy being able to fall back on a gimmick, right? Like, if I say something, someone gets really irritated, I can just go, dude, I'm a heel. But, I feel like they what they did when they did that was they said, and this hits closer to home for us, I think, than it does, and me personally, than it does for other people. But I think what they said was, screw you. We don't really care about what you want to see. We care about what we want. And we don't want him in our sandbox, and he's gone, and haha, we win. And when I say it hits personally to me, it was, we've talked about this in the past. I have no problem bringing this up. Starcast, the network that we had that was airing Starcast. We got the lightest of the light. We didn't get the stars. And I loved everybody who was there. But we didn't get the Young Bucks because we didn't get Kenny Omega. And there may have been other issues too, just logistically. But the Young Bucks, from what I was told, maybe I'm wrong, right? But from what I was told, the Young Bucks would not commit to do it because they assumed that CM Punk would be there. And to me, that's bullshit. So, anyway, it was a long answer. I need my coffee brought to me by Efren.
Smells like little vajayjay. But anyway, as far as that goes, as far as the Young Bucks not showing up because of Punk's alleged appearance, like that's such a bitch move. But anyway,
no, that was the whole thing. Was like, oh well, we're not going to get them. We're not going to get this, and I keep teasing. One day we're going to tell the story about the casket or the coffin. I don't know which one it was. Was it a casket or a coffin? Right.
I don't know, but I remember that it's a great story.
Yeah.
But all right. So saying all that to say this, like, is there a way that they can kind of rectify this whole thing? Like, how do you get the fan back? If you were all in, no pun, right? If you were all in on AEW being the brand new flavor of the month, this is so cool. They have great wrestling. They have some stars down there from WWE. They're making their own stars, whatever. Whatever you're supposed to do when you start a promotion, right? Like, the people that they lost based off of either Tony Khan just kind of rubbing people the wrong way or whatever. However you didn't want to watch anymore, or you started the shit on the product. Like, what is there a comeback from this? Like, is there, because there's only so many people on the WWE roster that are willing to think the grass is greener on the other side when their contracts run out and they can have a debut and make a splash. But everybody seems to make that debut, make that splash, and then kind of get
it's
lost in the shuffle.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like, how do you recover this?
A couple of years ago, the thought of Edge being there would have been mind blowing. And I'm talking after he's returned. Obviously, had he not, but after his return to WWE, like the thought of it, like Edge is getting, no, Edge isn't going to AEW. He's finishing his career in WWE.
I actually put on the Fight Factory podcast, I said, I'll put my mortgage up that Edge would never appear in AEW. So now I'm homeless.
Yeah.
But outside of that,
he's actually, Dave's actually on the corner right now. That's a green screen behind him.
I was that confident that I was like, there's no way. There's no way. You can't. There's not a world we live in where Edge will go down there, become Adam Copeland, and then just be like. And I was like, nah, come on, that's stupid.
Right, and then
sure enough, they pulled the trigger on it, and it worked out. But then again, it didn't.
Right, and then this goes back to again Tony Khan saying Edge is on the greatest run of his career. Edge might be having some of the best matches prior to getting injured. He may have been having some of the best, like that he felt best matches, and he was in tremendous shape. Is obviously mentally at the best, as far as this is the best he's ever been. All the knowledge, all the years behind him. But you can't say it's the best run he ever had. You can't look at a guy who was a part of the Attitude Era, Edge and Christian days, 5-second pose. You can't look at the Rated R Superstar feuding with John Cena and say this is the best run he's ever had. Having said that, if Adam Copeland feels it is, then who the hell are we to say it isn't, right? So I don't know.
Well, Adam Copeland also knows where the checks are coming from now, so he's going to say, like, this is the best I've ever done. And
listen, at the same time, he should feel that way, right? Like, I shouldn't be. If someone asked me right now, like the Wrestling Hour, I love the Wrestling Hour. It's my favorite show that I've ever been a part of, legitimately. Whether it was the first season that we did and that format, or what we're doing now. But let's say I thought, Mind of the Meanie was my favorite, time. I'm not going to sit here and just be like, oh man, yeah, the wrestling hour, whew, it's no Mind of the Meanie, but man, it's like, no, of course you're gonna, you're gonna hype it.
Right.
But it's way better. No, hey,
shout out to Blue Meanie.
I can say support those guys, support the Blue Meanie.
He's the best.
Yeah, he's a good dude, real good dude.
I'm sure he was in peril on Monday night, by the way.
What's that?
And so are you. I said I'm sure he was in peril on Monday night, and so were you.
Yeah, God, what a one freaking. Anyway, we're not getting into that right now. Okay, we're not getting into that right now.
Nah, why would
EAGLES Eagles? Anyway, yeah, it's the whole thing. It was when they lose, it's a work. That's the whole thing, right?
Oh, right.
This is just storyline. But the comeback's gonna happen. Yeah. So okay, you're talking about WWE people. Who's gonna want to jump over? Well, that's part of why. How could we get it back to what it was before? I have a couple of thoughts on that. One would be the argument of let's not become what made TNA an issue back in the day, which was WWE Light, because it felt like all the cast-offs, right? The only time TNA really started to take off from a WWE guy was when guys like Christian and guys like Kurt Angle came over, because then that was like, oh my God, like this is a big deal.
That was like peak TNA though.
Yeah.
Like that was.
But
yeah.
Now what that did was that gave you an opportunity. When Kurt Angle came over, Kurt's a perfect example, right? When Kurt Angle came over and everyone was like, oh my God, how is this going to happen? What was the first thing he did was get face to face with Samoa Joe, headbutt Samoa Joe and bust him open, and we're off to the races, right? What we saw right there was something that you could not ever see in WWE at that time, because what you were seeing was you were now getting to see Kurt Angle, who was like, I'm here to challenge the Samoa Joes of the world. So what I'm saying is what you need was, and I liked this when Punk first came back to AEW, and his first match was Darby Allin, which was weird. It was kind of like, it was a weird choice, but I liked the fact that it was, okay, I'm here, let's see these new guys. And I think that a Darby Allin, look, Hangman, Swerve Strickland, and I don't care, Swerve was, a cup of coffee somewhere else, whatever the case, everybody starts somewhere. But you're getting these people that you're creating as these originals. That's what's going to continue to help shift it. When you can have talent that you can't see anywhere else, where you have talent that these guys are purely AEW, which is something we've talked about in the past. These guys working all the indie dates. It's not, and I get it. I absolutely get it. WrestlePro they've got a show coming up. That due to the fact that Danny Moff is not getting his title shot, I'm boycotting. I won't be there. But no,
yesterday, by the way, not to cut you off, yesterday was the anniversary of me getting shit for being with my family on a Sunday rather than going to Sunday WrestlePro. Yeah, that was the anniversary of that. So it came up in my memories like, wow, this is the greatest day ever. But meanwhile, I'm getting mean texts. Like, I can't believe you're not here.
Wait a minute. Was that the anniversary of when I pulled double duty and called the entire show myself and got paid half what I normally did?
Yes.
Spoiler, I'm never going back, apparently. So that's what the wrestling hour is, guys. Gloves are off. New t-shirt coming to prowrestlingtees.com/myfandom. Seriously, it is. Go check out. We got some great stuff over there. Banger is there. It's back. Yeah, but no, man, their show is chock full of AEW guys, and the issue is twofold. One, why do I want to watch a show with guys? Why do I want to pay to watch a show? And this is a whole other conversation about streaming and stuff like that. But why would I pay to stream a non-canon appearance of somebody. And when I say non-canon, I mean in the sense of like, if something happens with the Acclaimed at WrestlePro, it's not getting acknowledged on AEW TV. So why am I going to pay money to see that when I can see them for free on TV on AEW? The other side of it is, why am I going to care about whatever storyline someone's involved with if they're then going to go be doing something else that's like outside of it? I feel like Tony Khan, for the amount of money,
that drives me absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
And that's my big thing with, not to cut you off, but
please cut me
that's
off.
my
I
big
feel like I'm
thing with-
talking too much.
That's my big thing with Fight Factory Wrestling, is that like, I'm not afraid to carry somebody else's independent storyline into my promotion because it makes more sense that way. The fact that like for instance, we do have Danny Moff. He's our champion. He's going on one-on-one with AJ Francis this Saturday, right? And it's going to be great and all that. But you got a guy like TJ Marconi who's going against Wrecking Ball Legursky. I just figured let's pair them up. But in the promos and in the exchanges, Marconi is starting to talk about Danny Moff because of the fact that there is some beef that's happening at Warriors of Wrestling, right? So like I'm welcoming that because for me, it feels like a more authentic product rather than like, okay, all right, perfect example. And again, Kevin Matthews has the mind of, he's very creative as well. However, don't make me think that Fallah Bahh is dead somewhere and then not dead in Alaska. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, for me, it just
but there
doesn't make
is
sense.
a mindset, I think, by a lot of promoters, all the way up to Vince McMahon was always like this. Oh, they don't remember. Yeah, the fans don't care. They don't remember. Well, maybe that worked once upon a time because even if they did remember, they couldn't really tell anybody. But now we have this thing called the internet. Hey, you know,
What's that?
I want to take an opportunity. Al Gore created it. I want to take an opportunity to talk about your show real quick.
Sure.
Give you a little clip ski to put out there. Fight Factory Wrestling Knuckle Brawl, September 21st. You have to bring your own ferry. Fight Factory Wrestling Knuckle Brawl is coming to you live September 21st. You need to be there to see this. And nice shirt. And at least you're wearing a shirt by something that could be sponsoring us. I'm wearing an Under Armour shirt and I'm drinking a Starbucks coffee. So, man, we really know product placement where we don't get paid.
Man, this Poland Spring is delicious.
Hey, I drink my Fandom water. Go to
Wow.
myfandomapp.com.
I heard that one's even more pure than Poland Spring.
Oh. Okay. AJ Francis. I said online that I was going to respond to AJ Francis on the Wrestling Hour, and I was going to wait till the end, but I might as well do it now. I want to make something abundantly clear. So AJ Francis is going to be facing Danny Moff in the main event of Knuckle Brawl, Fight Factory Wrestling, for the Fight Factory Wrestling Premier Championship that Danny Moff has around his waist right now. And I mean right now because that man doesn't take it off. AJ Francis cut I guess a promo. And I'm sorry. And first, I want to apologize. I don't have a cigar with me, but I know that's like I think that's the cool way to cut a promo now. But I don't have one. AJ Francis cut a promo about how they're two silverback gorillas and they're going to be facing each other. And then he gave a bit of advice to Danny Moff. And his advice was to tell Shernoff to shut his effing mouth.
Whoa.
I'm not going to take your advice. And instead, I'm going to say this. And I'm not going to say what you think I'm going to say. AJ Francis, I actually have a ton of respect for you. What you've done, you are the definition of hustle. Okay? Your career in the NFL, the fact, do you have any idea? I mean, I know you do, AJ, how few incredibly talented people can even make it to actually play in the NFL. Mm-hmm. All the respect in the world. The hustle for that. The music that you're doing, that again, it's like you found every single industry that is a 1 in a million chance of making it, and you found your place in it. Professional wrestling is the same. You were on there. I took a jab at you about A&E. Dude, Dude, you hosted a show on A&E. That's awesome. You wrestled in the WWE. Now you wrestle for TNA, which is on the upswing. I have all the respect in the world for you. And as a matter of fact, I look at you, AJ Francis, and I see the potential for a breakout career. Except for the fact that you're going to face Danny Moff. And I'm worried sick for you that your career is going to come to an end on September 21st. Because you open your mouth, you think you're a silverback gorilla. Here's the difference. You have a man who thinks he's a silverback gorilla going against a silverback gorilla in Danny Moff. Danny Moff is a monster of a human being. Danny Moff enjoys hurting people. He enjoys it. You're going in there saying, hey, we're going to butt heads. Danny Moff doesn't want to just butt your head. He then wants to rip it from your body and eat it. So when I say these things, like, what are you doing? Why are you choosing to be in here? You had your little fight with Malcolm, right? And it was all fun and games and ha. And now I told you, man, you need to tighten up your boots because you're in there with the God King of professional wrestling. Buddy, I'm not kidding. Danny Moff is going to destroy you. So you can tell me to keep my mouth shut, but if I were you, I would keep your ears open and I would listen to what I'm saying, because I am telling you that if you go into this with the idea that you are going to go head to head with Danny Moff, he's going to kill you. If you go in there and you try to wrestle him, maybe you'll have a chance. Maybe you can kind of pull off a couple of wrestling moves before he just hits you so hard that you think you're back in the NFL. I'm just saying, I'm sorry to see that your career is going to be coming to an end on September 21st. That's all I want to say. I have all the respect in the world for him. Danny Moff's going to kill him. If you're the type of person who loves to see AJ Francis get his ass kicked, which I think is kind of everyone, you got to come to Fight Factory Wrestling. And look, you're a part of a tag team now, right? You've got Casey Navarro there. Casey Navarro posted recently, oh, it's my tag partner versus my trainer. Well, Casey Navarro seems to have forgotten that his trainer is also the person who destroyed Casey Navarro and became the first ever Fight Factory Wrestling Premier Champion. Correct?
Fair.
And then there's that other guy, by the way, your other partner that we haven't heard from in a little bit, Rich Swann. You remember him? I remember Rich Swann. I think he remembers me from that time that I choked his ass out 15 years ago. So all I'm saying is this is going to be a fun night. I'm looking forward to this Fight Factory Wrestling. That's it. That's all I got to say about that.
All right, well, get your tickets right now. Ferryhawks.com to get your tickets. Plenty of good seats still available. Field level, right up there. We're putting the ring on home plate. It's going to be a really cool look and feel. We're very excited about it. But hey, man, listen, big words from a big personality, Josh Shernoff, delivering
big man, big man over here. Come on.
I was going to go the other way, but I wouldn't want to get, like, you know.
No, you want to do that? Because then I might say something about you, and then you might slide into my DMs.
I don't want you to get yourself in a Malcolm in the Middle type situation. But, but anyway, it's going to be a doozy. Can't wait. Staten Island, our debut over there, and loaded cards. So.
Oh, that was one other thing. He said he's going to be the king of New York. He said he's going to be the king of New York. That's what he said in his promo too. So good for you. It's being, king shit of Turd Mountain. Congratulations, king of New York.
I can't say I'm the biggest fan of Staten Island because I have a bad history in Staten Island. Yeah, it's not. Listen,
do we start recording yet? What is this show? What are we talking about today? What is this?
Go ahead. All right, what do we got? What's next on the old docket?
Oh man, hey, Smackdown, right? Brand new logo, brand new theme. What do you think of the logo first, Dave?
Logo I really like. I really do like the logo. I like how they incorporated the S and the D and they intertwine it. And it's a cool, smooth, clean. As I like to say about the My Fandom app, it's clean, right? Like it just feels nice and clean. I can definitely do without the theme song. I just don't.
Like,
I don't know if that was the move. Like we went from like Union Underground, like Raw is what, like all that really hardcore shit. Even when Nickelback was doing it, when nobody likes Nickelback except me.
Everyone here's the thing about that. Everyone likes Nickelback. Everyone just thinks it's cool.
It became like a joke to not like them. I love them.
I'm just wondering who was buying all those albums then? If everyone hates, were we all buying them ironically? Is that what was happening?
Exactly.
Come on, guys.
Exactly, my man. Shout out to Chad Kroger. He's the man.
Let's not go that far.
But I will say that the theme song,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Who do we appreciate? Smackdown. I don't like. That's as far as I got on that.
I just think it's a weird feel for the dynamic it's going for, and I would not be surprised. And I'm just gonna make a bold prediction. I would not be surprised if that gets changed. Like I don't know. Like there's enough negative feedback on the interwebs right now about how this song doesn't. It feels like Bianca Belair is about to come out when SmackDown's starting. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like that vibe, and my boy Enzo, right? The real one. Like something like he's gonna come out storming out. Like it just doesn't seem like. And I'm a fan of rap music and hip hop, and I've always been. I'm more old school than I am new school because the new school stuff kind of sucks, to me at least. But like, I don't know if that jives with pro wrestling now. I don't know. It's just a weird. Like I'm not gonna shit on it. Megan Trainor, I think her name. Not Megan Trainor.
What?
Megan Trainor. What the hell's her? What's her name?
Megan the Stallion.
Her too. Megan Trainor's another one. I can't. What did Megan Trainor sing?
I don't know.
She had to sing. Anyway,
I don't know who these people are.
Whoever this person is that does the theme song, it doesn't jive with the fans. As of right now, I've seen nothing but negative. What is this shit type music?
I'm sure they're in a contract
specifically with the old school fan.
But I'm sure they're in a contract. So like a year from now,
that's what I'm saying. You signed a deal. Good for her. She's probably getting paid out the ass for this. But it's like at the same time, it's like, man, it doesn't.
No, we want something that to. I'm going to coin a phrase right now. All right. And you can print it on shirts. Something that's going to make me feel like I've got adrenaline in my soul. Okay. Like that's the type you want music that, but there's a perfect example, right? So Cody, that music that sets the tone, right? The same way that Roman, which, thank God on SmackDown, man, when he did that run in, they just went boom right into his song. Didn't do the 45-minute.
So it's funny you mentioned that. I don't know. Once again, he might be getting, or they might be getting some feedback where they're like, dude, it takes forever for him to get out there. And if it's like a one-off, gotta run out there, appear thing,
right?
You really gonna run out to the hype of the music? Listen, I'm gonna be the first one to tell you, and I'm a psychopath like this, and Chris Payne and Tommy D think I'm a nut. But I only have, as much as the music, I'm a music guy. I love so many bands, so many artists, right? But when I'm in the gym, my playlist is strictly wrestling theme songs. I really love wrestling music. I really think some of the ones that they produce are incredibly awesome.
So what do we start off? We start off with like Big Boss Man, then we head on to like the Mountie. And then when he's getting that pump, it's like he's going. It's like Repo.
I'll tell you right now where it is. Right now, I'll give you 5. I'll just give you 5. Okay. Right, Roman, right, okay. Brock,
okay,
Triple H,
which one?
Braun Breaker, and Solo Sikoa, and now I've added Jacob Fatu.
So it's like which Triple H? King of Kings, Game,
Motorhead,
My Time,
Motorhead. King, no, the original game, the game.
Okay,
yeah.
So that's, dude, I've got almost all of those mixed in there as well. But so sometimes I'll have things like, so technically, I guess it was Taz's original theme before he then had his own version of it, because I'll have War Machine by Kiss is on there. But to me, if you're a wrestling fan, War Machine by Kiss is Taz, right? So it doesn't.
I feel that way. I feel that way about a couple songs. Like obviously, I'm a huge Yankees guy, so Enter Sandman has always been Mariano Rivera for me.
Okay.
But Enter Sandman is Sandman. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
or Alice in Chains with Tommy Dreamer. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Like that kind of shit. That'll always. There's no
Right. It's
way.
yeah.
And you know what's so funny? You know what's so funny? Funny quick side story. I was in the car going to Trenton for a house show that Pat Buck was bringing me and my partner at the time, Damian Gibbs. And we were brand new. I was like, it was like December, and I didn't, or no, maybe it was like November.
Have you marked
And
that
I didn't
show
have
on my fandom as attended?
I should probably do that, right?
Do you have
Yeah.
any photos? Do you have any photos you can upload from it?
No, because I didn't want to be a Mark boy, and like we didn't. It wasn't even like it was weird. We must have sat at the house show for like a minute and a half, and then like we were gone because like he wanted to go meet up where at a bar that Mike Chioda, our esteemed official at Fight Factory Wrestling, that he wanted to go meet Mike Chioda, and you know, before he spun off the planet, Ryback was there. They used to be best friends, right? Like Pat and Ryback, and I met a lot of Santino, and I met a lot of guys that night. But the one thing that I remember is the drive down, and when Allison that song came on,
Box. Yeah.
Man in the Box, when that came on, I was like, yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to use this as my theme song. Not even thinking. Like, not even think. And Pat was like, it looked at me, he's like, you know, this is Dreamer's song, right? And I was like, oh yeah. Right. Like,
God.
but I was so out of the loop of music.
You're like
time.
that person who was on the Tough Enough show where Stone Cold's like, what's your favorite match? And they're like Alicia Fox versus like someone, you know? Pat's probably looking at you like, does this kid have any idea, whatever? And you're like, yo, listen, I've been thinking,
but anyway,
I've been thinking about, I heard this Real American song and I thought that feels like me.
I've contacted Rick Derringer and he said I can use it. And, you know,
man.
Yeah, now I'm going to use, I'm going to come out on Saturday to this remix where all I keep hearing is like, they're eating the dogs. They're eating the dogs.
That has been
so good.
Yeah, I've seen that.
That's made its rounds. But anyway, back to the Smackdown theme song. It sucks.
Yeah. So. Yeah, no, it is man, grab your umbrella because it's drizzling shits. It's horrible. It's bad. It's why would you do it? Why would you like and this is the stuff I don't understand. Like I guess they do a deal and I feel like maybe it's beyond the idea of just like you know, maybe someone's working out some sort of deal of like, hey, this artist is going to do this, going to provide, you know, but it's like, there have been such good theme songs and we're at a time now where we're firing on all cylinders. Every new championship that gets created looks amazing now, right? They don't look like old nickels. And like, it's like, so when you see something now that's not good, and then people have complained about the logo. I think the logo is awesome. I do like the S and D type deal. I like that they can just have the SD on the mic flag, right? That it doesn't even have to have something. It's just, you know, that's good branding, I think. I'm really, really curious now for Raw when it moves to Netflix.
They're just gonna have an R on it.
I don't know what it'll be. Maybe it'll just be like an R with a kind of a slanted font, and then everyone will wear it on their armbands and then feed me. But
which, by the way, I think I'm not certain on this, but I'm pretty sure Ricochet totally stole the R that Ryback was.
I think it's like Ryback and Robin, right? Like put together.
Oh yeah, Robin. Yeah, good call.
Yeah,
good call.
Yeah. Hey, everything.
Oh, yeah.
Everything
I don't know. And like
again.
I said, maybe to your point, maybe they do have some kind of deal. Like, think about it. Every WrestleMania for the last like 5 years has been The Weeknd, right? Another song by The Weeknd. So maybe there's like a 10-year deal.
At least they've been really good, right? Even
the
ones that haven't been like the best, like even the ones where you're not like, oh my god, my favorite WrestleMania theme of all time. Like it still fits. Right, like Raw right now, dude. I couldn't even hum you the Raw theme right now if I had to.
Oh no,
but it doesn't offend me. You know what I mean? Like it's not great. Like it's not, you know, like we're not like the whole, you know, we're going out tonight. Blah, blah, blah. That one was cool. That was, and then there was
Nickelback.
Yeah, and then there was the "Wanna Be Loved" Was that Papa Roach?
Oh, Papa Roach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One We Love. That was good. That was a good. That's
yeah.
on my. That's in there in my gym mix. So funny thing about my gym mix, I'd say like 90% of it, because I got the little earbuds where you can do the double click skips it, or the triple click brings it back, right? I feel like in between my sets sometimes I'm just double clicking nonstop because I've been adding to a gym mix for like 15 years. And I like don't take things off of it. So I'll add to it, but then every once in a while it'll be like, it's like a song that, 12 years ago pumped me up. And now I'm like, dude, I don't want to listen to this.
You got WWF, the music volume 1,
right?
Full
I
Metal
got that.
or whatever.
So here we go. Yeah. Got Shawn Michaels.
And every so
theme.
often I will admit to this shamefully, but not really shamefully because I don't care. But like every so often, Sexy Boy will pop in and I'm like, oh shit, what do I do? How do I act?
Here's
like how do I start dancing? Do I do the pose? Like
No. You know how you act when Sexy Boy comes on? You go full on end of 97, early 98 pre-initial retirement Shawn Michaels, because that guy, I don't care. That dude, when he walked out to that music, that was the most badass. There was no one cooler than that Shawn Michaels. And which brings a whole other thing, which wasn't even on our rundown here, but everybody talks about Perk Angle, Kurt Angle, which is kind of like a weird thing when you're like, hey, yeah, Kurt Angle, when he had that like major drug addiction and it like ruined his life and he almost died.
People,
he's the
throw that around.
That was the best. And it's like, that's really like, maybe we shouldn't refer to it. Although, I mean, he was in the ring, he was doing amazing stuff, but,
it's because he couldn't feel anything.
Yeah. But Shawn Michaels at that time, was in a tailspin personally. He'll be the first to tell you it was like the worst time of his life. He was, he was a mess. Everyone around him hated being around him. He was an absolute disaster. But when he entered that arena, dude, there was no one better. That guy he's never been better in his entire career on screen than that. Not saying he's never had a better match. I'm saying he's never, as a character, as a personality. So I think so. I guess the lesson is do drugs and no, and that's it's like a horrible thing, right? Because you're like, man, when was Kurt Angle at his best? Oh, when he was really, really messed up. When was Shawn Michaels at his best? Super messed up. Yeah, oh man. But you know what?
Hey. Listen, they both. I mean, not so much Kurt Angle because he could barely move and he's become a meme at this point, but Shawn Michaels is prospered. So
no,
we're all
and
good.
Kurt Angle, Kurt Angle too, though. Look, he's got a solid family life now. He's got a good thing going on in his life now.
We will, should we say this? But we will possibly be running into Kurt Angle at the mall one day. So that's
Are we? That went over my head.
Really? He got announced to be at a specific independent wrestling company.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, like at the mall. I'm like, is he doing like an autograph signing that we're going to?
Yeah.
Fun fact, he was in a booth, or he was at a table next to me at a signing when I was there, when I was promoting something and doing a signing. And Danhausen was on the other side of me. And it was like, you ever have a sandwich where both pieces of bread are in incredibly high demand, but whatever's in between, no one gives a shit about? That was that sandwich. So, but yeah, no. News to come. We got more stuff coming up soon. Dave and I are going to be, it's looking like we're going to be doing some pre-show hosting for a pretty cool show coming up soon. So we'll have, in the next couple months, we'll have more information on that.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned for that. Hey, I mentioned Bully Ray earlier.
Sure.
And I kind of poked fun a little bit, but I am going to say, I kind of like, in a way, the way that Bully Ray talks. When he's like explaining something, like you
can hear his passion for the business in every segment that he does.
Yeah.
Every segment.
He's very specific with what he says like this. Very, very specific. And it's like,
you cannot
right.
twist his words at any point.
And I actually do kind of find it entertaining. I know I was poking fun before, and now I'm just backpedaling so he doesn't kick my ass. But he said recently that Chris Jericho will end his career in WWE. Like, he said, like, emphatically, he has no doubt in his mind. And I wanted your take on that, because I don't agree with that. I think he'll end up in the Hall of Fame. And then he said, oh, they'll go to the Hall of Fame. He'll no-show the Hall of Fame because he wants to be a rock star and all that. That's not going to happen. But Jericho, I think Jericho at some point will be in the Hall of Fame. I think he ends his career in AEW. What do you think?
There's nobody that has reinvented themselves more in a short time frame than Chris Jericho, right? Like, when he debuted with WWE, you know, he went from the Lionheart and the complaining, whining guy at WCW, shows up as Y2J. What?
The role model, the original role model,
yes,
for Bayley.
Yes. So then he makes his debut at WWE as Y2J, right? And then he's the Jerichoholic and this, that, and the third. And like, he never really went away from exactly who he was. I guess the farthest he drifted from the original Y2J thing was when he was doing the list, right? And he was just doing a little bit also of
when he was comedic. The suit wearing Chris Jericho.
Yeah, but it was always, to me, you never looked at Jericho like a different person, right?
Okay,
I think everybody, like, it was like a different phase in his career, but it was never like, what is he doing? You know, like, what is that? You know, like, that's not Jericho. Jericho was always Jericho at WWE. However, when he went to AEW, something along the line was like, he was like, I'm going to try so many fucking things. Yeah. and it's going to be so much fun. And like, I think he has the creative freedom, and nobody has, quote, reinvented themselves more than Chris Jericho. But a lot of this shit that he's done is just that. And it's not very entertaining. This learning tree thing, I think, is awful. I don't like it. The high guys thing, he's got the crowd doing it now, which is like, that's the goal, right? You want things
right.
to
So
stick.
You say you don't like it, right? And I don't like it, but what are you going to say? Sticky. Chris Jericho, oh man, it's not working. And he's going to go, you see, every last one of the 16 fans in the audience are doing it.
Right. And again, like I said, he's reinvented himself a lot in a short time frame of since post WWE. Do I think he winds up back with WWE to finish out where he really, really got his jump start? I could see it. I don't think there was any ill will when he went over to AEW and started that company. It was just like, it was time to move on from Chris Jericho. And he knew that he was going to be painted as a pillar of this new company. So why not try to take on that challenge as a performer, as a professional wrestler? But I think when it's all said and done, can you imagine a pop at the Royal Rumble with a countdown? Like people would go fucking nuts.
They would.
And I don't know how long it would last as far as like the initial holy shit moment, just like when Edge came back. Mm-hmm. People were like, what the fuck? No way. Yeah. Right? If Jericho's countdown starts at a Rumble, dude, people will lose their minds. And I think that moment might be the send-off. I don't know if he could do a program.
The question is, though, does he... But the question is, does he care? Right? Like, because you have to look behind the scenes at the actual guy behind Chris Jericho. He has free reign. He has reached a point in his career where, like, he's never going to be Triple H or Shawn Michaels where he's running the show. Chris Jericho, in my opinion, based on things I've heard and things I've seen, that man is as close to running the show as possible, at least running his show. Because I don't think he cares what's going on with the other stuff. He's running his show. He shows up. If Tony Khan says, hey, I was thinking we'd do this, and he doesn't want to do it, he's, nah, let's not do that. Hey, we'll do this instead. And Tony's going to go, okay, sounds good. You going to leave that? Like, why? Not to mention, you think Tony Khan's paying him $60,000 a year? Like, the dude is not going to get paid for a final run what he'll get paid for a final week in AEW.
What I think is, at the end of this fun run that he's having right now, which that's what it is, right? It's a fun run, creative run, lucrative run. He's doing his thing. I think he'll want that one more thing. You know, like you can't do anything more at AEW. You can't. You're going to reinvent yourself again. You're going to go on another title run. You're going to not put over some young talent, right? Like there's not enough to do at AEW that's left. He's got not a lot of meat left on that bone. So when it's dry and it's just a bone, he might say to his family and loved ones and closest friends, like, yo, you know how cool it would be if I just did one more Royal Rumble? Like in a big stadium, people would fucking lose their minds, right? And everybody would be like, yeah, man, that'd be awesome. Then he would talk to Triple H, say, look, this is a one-off. This is how I want to end my career. Can we do it? There's 100% chance that Triple H would be like, yeah, do it.
I think if Chris Jericho wanted to go back, I think hands down, without question, Chris Jericho goes back. I don't think that's the issue at all. I think his relationship with Tony is, I think they have such a strong relationship that I think he feels, I don't know. This is just my opinion. I think that he feels like he's part of the DNA of AEW. Having said that, Cody Rhodes is WWE champion. So
that's exactly
right.
Literally,
I mean, point. You know, when CM Punk came to the ring and sat down on the very first time when he, you know, when he made his illustrious return to wrestling and it was in the AEW ring, and you're just like, here we are, Punk's back, and this is where he's wrapping up his career, and this is it. And now Punk is doing some of the best stuff creatively, you know.
I wouldn't be surprised if a guy like Edge went back. You know, like I would
think
not
Edge and Christian. I could see Edge and Christian coming back to WWE.
I would kill. Listen, I would kill, and this could actually segue into what you mentioned earlier about the Undertaker. But like, this could absolutely be one of those situations where I don't give a shit how old these people get. Like, if you said to me at WrestleMania 40, let's say 2, right? Not even next year, the year after that you would have a TLC match with the Hardys, Edge and Christian, and the Dudleys, one more go. Sign me the fuck up for that, dude. Like,
but you got to bill it as a TLC death match because someone, if not multiple people, will die in that match.
But me as the nostalgic wrestling fan, I'm like, yo, let's go. Let's do that. Like, let's not waste any more time.
And here's the thing, though. Your first thought, right, in your mind is going to be like, dude, they're so old. They're not going to do that. They wouldn't do that, whatever. Edge is out with an injury now because he jumped off the top of a cage. Jeff Hardy, I don't think he can wake up in the morning without jumping off of something. Like, these guys, and they're so much smarter now than they were in the TLC days. Well, that they could.
I wish Edge wouldn't have jumped off a cage, but yeah, like.
But okay, I'm not saying they use their intelligence, but they have it. They could have a match that is so much more entertaining. Not to mention, maybe it's the three of them and a third. I mean, dude, didn't we do the tag team ladder match at Mania this past year? And it was like how many teams? Like 6 teams or something.
It was a lot, yeah.
Maybe that's the play if that ever happens, right? Where it's
just
those
like
3 teams and then
4 teams.
No, I'm saying do the 6 teams, right? It's those 3 old school and 3 new guys. So they're all taking, who's taking the crazy bumps. You're going to get one monster swanton. You're going to get some sort of like, I mean, there's things that could happen, and that I'm getting excited about that.
The Booker in me says you make it a 4 tag team ladder match with 3 mystery tag teams, and you just rattle them off one after another, and people would just lose their fucking minds at WrestleMania.
The Booker in me,
and like, dude, what?
The Booker in me says shucky ducky quack quack. So
Booker.
To wrap things up here, The Undertaker recently said if he could redo, and this wasn't like if I could go back in time and redo. And that's what I found interesting. He said if he could have one more match to redo like to just give it another try, he would like to do again. He would like to do him and Kane versus DX and do it right. Now we know that's not happening. We know it's not happening for so many reasons. That, I mean, we'll start with Triple H can't. So done, right? Triple H can't. Shawn Michaels is, I mean, I don't know his exact age, but I was looking at a picture of him recently. So I want to say 84. He's 84.
Just to relax. Pump the brakes with the Michael slander.
Love
okay?
him.
He's my guy.
Love him. I mean,
nah, you're a Brett guy. I don't want to.
I am a Brett guy. I am a Brett guy through and through, but I'm also a Shawn Michaels guy. I
don't
believe
like that.
he can be
That's
both.
like saying that you have two favorite teams in sports. Like, it makes me nuts.
You can, but you can. Because they were so different and complex. Here's the thing. I'm a Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels guy because when you put Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels in the ring together, there was nothing better. Right?
Correct.
That's like if I say to you, are you a peanut butter guy or are you a jelly guy? Well, most of the time you're going to say, well, I'm a peanut butter guy. But man, you put peanut butter and jelly together, you got yourself a sandwich. You know what kind of sandwich it isn't? It isn't the sandwich of Kurt Angle, Danhausen, and this guy.
Folks, that's called a callback from a previous joke.
Yes.
In case you were all wondering. That's journalism and media 101.
Nobody's wondering. We're like 57 minutes into this show. Nobody's listening anymore. I lost them when I went off on AJ Francis because everyone's like, I've never heard of this guy. Who is he talking about?
Dude.
But no, I'm sorry. No, listen, he's headlining your show. Highlight of his life. Possibly the end of his life because he's facing Danny Moff. Speaking of the end of life, though, Undertaker, right? So let me ask you, will the Undertaker ever have one last match in the ring in front of a crowd?
I think because of the fact that his last match was some movie cinema last ride thing with AJ Styles, I feel like we need it. And I don't know, look, I can't tell you the formidable opponent. I could tell you that it would have to be someone of, he's not going to like go in there with a kid, right? Like a new, like up and coming star. It would have to be some kind of nostalgic play. I don't know what that nostalgic play would be, but would I love to see the Undertaker back in the ring one more time? Sure. But I do not want to see the Undertaker that we saw with Goldberg and Shawn and Hunter. Like, I don't want to see that. But if there's a way that he can train enough to put together something casual.
All he'll ever do is the badass, American badass crap anyway. He won't do...
Yeah, no, come out on the bike and all that other shit. That's fine. Like, I can see, like, when he went in there and delivered that chokeslam to Braun Breaker on NXT, I was like, oh, man, would I love to see that shit again, right?
Yeah.
Like, and you think about it hypothetically, obviously, and it's impossible now, but a showdown between him and Bray would have been incredible, right? Like, that
they had one and it just didn't work, but it was the wrong Bray and it was the wrong Taker. It was like not the right time.
Right. And maybe there's something to this, Uncle Howdy thing, or I don't know. Like, but what I'm saying is, Taker in a match in a ring at a WrestleMania one more time, it wouldn't piss anybody off like it would if it was somebody that nobody even likes. It. Like, all right, I love Dave Bautista, but for whatever reason, a lot of people got on his case when he came back for that last run, right? Like that last little hoorah with Triple H.
It was like the second
if he
to last
decided
run.
to want to do what?
Everyone hated the second to last run, the Blue Tista type thing. Then he came back for that last run, which I actually thought was awesome.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is some people are just like, oh, come on. No, dude, don't do this. You know what I mean? Like, but like for Taker, like if you're a wrestling fan and you boo that idea, then you're not a wrestling fan. Yeah. That's just the way I see it.
Final thing we're going to talk about here. Actually, we're going to go over a second because I do have one other question for you. Just popped into my head when we were talking about all these things. Dustin Rhodes.
I love Dustin.
One day, I love Dustin too. Dustin's a great, great dude. One day he'll be in the WWE Hall of Fame, hands down, without question. Not even a question for me at all. Does Dustin Rhodes end his career in AEW? Or does Dustin Rhodes come back and have one more run as this version of Dustin Rhodes? Because Dustin never, I mean, I know the Natural back in the day was fine, whatever. Dustin Rhodes never worked in WWE outside of Goldust. It didn't work for him. He could never be anything but Goldust. But now, this version of him that he's created in AEW, the half face paint, the kind, it works. This is like Dustin now, and I want to see that in WWE. I want to see, you talk about the Royal Rumble. I want to see one last run of Dustin Rhodes, and I'm talking Rumble to Mania. I'm not talking a long run. I'm talking Rumble to Mania. I would love to see one last run of Dustin Rhodes in WWE. I would love to see something having to do with Cody. Not against Cody, because we saw that already. That was it'll never beat it. That was a once to me, like, that was just magic. What do you think? You think we have a chance?
First of all, I love Dustin Rhodes. I love everything he's done for pro wrestling. It was my second seminar I ever took as a pro wrestler. I was in there with Dustin Rhodes. He taught me so much.
He told me you were terrible. That's what he told me.
Yeah, well, I can't confirm or deny that either. But I will say that, like, meeting him and listening to him educate is it's something you can't get anywhere else. First of all, second of all, I would love to see him back at WWE. However, leave it up to WWE. Remember, who's in the Hall of Fame right now? Scott Hall or Razor Ramon? So my problem with this is, would they bring him back? Would they bring him back and say Goldust is getting in the Hall of Fame? Because if you think about it, listen to this logically. If you think about it, Goldust was the chunk of his career that made him who he is.
Oh, sure.
So, and he's even half the character that he is now, right? He's half Goldust, right? Or half whatever.
Yeah, and he's still, his boot, like, one of his boots has the Longhorn, and the other boot has the camera, the cinematic camera. If you ever see that, like,
no, I did not see that. Yeah, that's awesome. But that's what I'm saying. Like, would WWE welcome Dustin Rhodes back, or would they say, "Hey, how would you like one more run as Goldust?" And again, do I think Goldust would work in today's climate? Yeah, I think so. You know what I mean? Like, I think that would bring a whole other community into the fold. But what I will say is, I think he's so talented, and I think he's got something left, and I would love for him to get back in there and do something. Yeah, maybe it is save a Cody, but maybe Cody goes off the rails a little bit. You could see it, you could sense it now if you're watching current programming. There's a lot of heelish tones to Cody Rhodes' speech because Roman is untouchable as a babyface right now, right? So it's like you mess on that, you talk shit to Roman, you're officially a heel. So, like, are we living in a world where all of a sudden Cody is just this evil, villainous, rich guy piece of garbage? Somebody's got to slap him down to reality, and who better than his brother? Like, I think that would be kind of
It's a crazy thing, especially, like, you know, my son is such a huge Cody Rhodes fan, like, loves Cody. The only reason he's turned around on Roman Reigns is because Roman saved Cody. So now he's, you know, and he hates Solo. But fun fact, hates Solo. He had me play a bunch of wrestling music for him. He goes, my son's 7 years old. He goes, "Dad, I really, really don't like him, but his music's really cool." Like, that was what he said about Solo. I was like, yeah, still pumped him up. But no, I thought about that with Dustin, and I just, like, I want to see him back, because although I do have a suspicion that his AEW career, if not his career in general, is going to wrap up at All In Texas. That's
makes sense.
That's to me, that's my thought process on it. Final thing for the wrestling hour plus. The final thing I want to talk about, the Sphere. UFC just did their show there. Ever since that thing was created, wrestling fans have been like, oh man, we got to do it. Somehow this has to happen. UFC just showed you, like, and let's not forget, UFC is WWE. They're the same. They're owned by the same company, right? So right off the bat, you know, to me, nobody does production. Not the NFL, not UFC, not anything else. No one does production like WWE. Just nobody. Doesn't matter how big you are. Doesn't matter if you're a company, like I mentioned, NFL, a company that's worth significantly more money even, and has some of the best at doing this. WWE, like, nothing beats them, in my opinion. No concert, no anything as far as their presentation. The ability to present in that way. This is my opinion. I believe that come April, something, whether it's a Smackdown before, something is going to be in the sphere. Because Mania is in Vegas.
I would not be surprised. And again, this is a huge rub, but I wouldn't be surprised if NXT got their pay-per-view there.
I thought about that.
But that's almost like the other guys at WWE main roster are like, wait a minute, come on. You know?
I thought about that, and I thought about that would be perfect, right? Mania is in this massive stadium, and look what we do for the Mania of NXT, right? My only thought, though, was like kind of the same thing of like all that pageantry, all that presentation is going to be for NXT. A lot of these people that we don't know.
So why don't you do this then? Why don't you just make it the Raw after? That's almost as big as anything else. The Raw after Mania is one of the biggest things in the world. So
that's true.
Do that.
Or do you do the SmackDown?
How many people does it hold?
Like 20,000.
Okay, so it didn't.
So that was
like that
because everybody's original thought process was like, oh my God, it'd be so cool to have Mania and something like this. And then it was like, oh, it's 20,000. No, they'll never do Mania there. Because Mania, obviously, and they won't. But holy crap, man. 20,000 for the SmackDown before?
They'll sell SmackDown. I know we went to it. We were there this year in Philadelphia at the Wells Fargo Arena. But
go to myfandomapp.com and you can see all the photos from there.
Yeah. Yeah. And while that's all well and good, I always feel like the SmackDown before Mania is kind of lame. Because then it's just a long night. You want to do something at the Sphere? Put the fucking Hall of Fame at the Sphere. Do that too. You could do that.
I think they could. That could be really cool. That could be a really cool.
But you got to headline it with somebody massive. Yeah. For like last year's class to me wasn't all that great outside of Heyman.
No,
that's just me. Like it was good, and they're all well-deserving Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
But like I feel like there was a couple of years where it was like, oh, he's getting it. Oh shit, he's getting into. Oh my God, like it was good speech after good speech after good speech. But now you're running out of people that are non-active, that are either in a different stratosphere or just, I don't know, whatever. But you could do it.
I'm still pulling for Demolition.
Anybody that could do production at the Sphere, it's them.
I'm still pulling for Demolition, and I want them to be inducted by Medusa. Anyway,
please God, no.
She's actually, so Medusa, Mr. T, and Hillbilly Jim, I want to see a table for three. I want a table for three of those three, and it will just be the longest. Like, if they started now, they'll still be doing it by Mania. So,
all right, Josh. Well, listen, we've people are getting extra base or free baseball, as Michael K says it. This is the overtime here, over the hour, but we've talked a lot about a lot of stuff today. Today was a loaded episode. It's only going to get bigger and better. We're going to be searching out some guests. I think we're going to have some guests on in a couple.
Oh yeah,
in a little bit. We got a lot of cool things planned for the wrestling hour. I think that this show will compete with other shows eventually. Right? We're just getting started, so I'm excited about it.
Hey,
but,
did not have this conversation at all, but I'm just wondering if I say Joe Hendry, is he now legally obligated to be a guest on our show?
Just because you say his name and he appears?
Yeah. Joe Hendry.
Yeah. Sorry.
Joe Hendry.
Yeah, it's like Beetlejuice. Just have to.
Yep. Joe Hendry. You have to. Please come on over. Come on over to the Wrestling Hour. We'd love to talk to you. All right.
Hell yeah. Well, let's wrap this up. Thank you guys, everybody out there, for watching. Please subscribe to the videos and the channel. The channel is doing wonderfully. There's a lot of content on the My Fandom YouTube channel. And of course, without any of this being said, you got to go to myfandomapp.com, download the app. Be sure to log all of the events. It is NFL season. I'm talking NFL on My Fandom Cast. If you go to games, we want to see you at the games. We want to see your angle at the games. We want to see your videos, your memorabilia, anything you get from these games. It's almost baseball playoff season. The NBA and the NHL are coming back. Look, there's a lot of things you can go to, a lot of events. We want to see them all on the My Fandom app.
We want to see your angle, including we have an expo section. So maybe if you were at Squared Circle Expo and a couple of years ago, and it's your angle of Kurt Angle, and then in the background you see sad, lonely me, okay? And then Danhausen.
Do that. And that is what we call a sandwich, ladies and gentlemen. So for Dave Sturchio and Josh Shernoff, this has been another episode of the Wrestling Hour. Be safe, everybody. We'll talk to you guys next week.